So right now I am close to the Martyrs Square. Behind me, if you see the fist, that's the Martyrs Square in Beirut. We are here near our car. Today is the last day. I came here on 6th of October, a day before the Israel-Hamas war happened, and I'll just try to show you the location. This is the Rafiq Hariri Mosque, or also known as Al-Amin Mosque. This is on my right, and this fist-looking board is here. That's the Martyrs Square. You see here now this entire area has also become a refugee center. People staying on the streets with their belongings. Now what I have seen in the last 1 week of my stay as I leave Beirut today, there has been internal displacement. Where did the attacks start? The first thing, where did the attacks start? The attacks started in the southern suburbs or the southern area of Lebanon, which is sharing borders with the northern area of Israel. Israel started its ground invasion there. Lebanese forces are not on the ground, it's the Hezbollah fighters which are fighting the Israeli ground army or the Israeli army on the ground. There have been heavy casualties on both sides. Trusting the media of both sides, even Hezbollah fighters have been killed, and even the Israelis have suffered casualties. But the big takeaway from this ground invasion is that perhaps Hezbollah fighters have been resisting, and there has been a huge pushback for Israel when it's trying to enter into Lebanon from the southern border via ground or on ground. And that has compelled Israel to sort of decide or look for other options, and one of those options is through seawater. Behind me, if you see there, that's the Bay Area. That is one of the areas of Mediterranean Sea, which is generally also a center for tourism, because there are tourism ships which are docked there, and then there are fishermen who get into the Mediterranean and can't go beyond a certain nautical boundary line or sea boundary between Lebanon and the occupied territory of Palestine. I'm not using the term Israel here. Why? Because these people who have Lebanon historically has been a safe shelter home for the Palestinian refugees who were ousted during Nakba in the 1948 war, which the Palestinians called catastrophe. You must have heard this term, Nakba, or the catastrophe in English, when they were forced out of their villages, which Israel calls the war independence, or the war of independence, when the Arab armies of the Arab republics had jointly attacked Israel to help Palestinians to retain their villages and oust the Jewish army. Not going into the history that much, but certainly Lebanon has been a safe refuge for the Palestinians. Now what has happened in the last 1 week? Israel has intensified its attack. Aerial strikes have happened in the southern suburbs where the ground engagement or ground combat is also happening, and many of the Hezbollah fighters have been killed there. What is happening in the north? In the north area of Beirut, aerial strikes are also happening near the airport. It has damaged roads leading towards the airport. Hassan Nasrallah was killed in one of the areas which is close to the Beirut city, which is called Dahieh. It's a mountainous locality or a region on the hilltop which houses around 7 million people. They have all left. Most of the areas in the Dahieh area have been vacated by people. And what is happening is internal displacement. People from the southern Lebanon, which also happens to be the Shia stronghold or the stronghold of Hezbollah, they have been migrating from that location and coming to the city area. This is where they are coming. They call it enough from this area. Now these people are also concerned that what lies for them in the future, and whether they will be able to go back to the southern suburbs of Lebanon where they were staying since their childhood or for ages. And why this is a matter of concern here in the Middle East, because Israel and Lebanon, or say the Hezbollah, have been engaged in multiple wars. It happened in 1982 when Israel came and stayed in Lebanon or occupied the territory of Lebanon for 18 years before they were pushed back, partly because of the fight with Hezbollah, and also after mediation efforts by UN. And then yet again in 2006, the second war of Lebanon happened, where Israel entered into Lebanon and stayed for a couple of weeks. Yet again, a ceasefire was struck between the two parties, and then Israelis left. Now this time around, those fears are coming true for the Lebanese, that perhaps Israel, if this time gets into Lebanon via ground or by sea, if they enter into Lebanon, perhaps they will not be able, perhaps Israel will not they won't return from here, and it will get again the history repeating it for the Lebanese people. Now what is happening to the society here? There are Druze, there are Christians, there are Shias, there are Sunnis. The opinion is divided. Some say that perhaps it's Hezbollah which has brought this war into Lebanon. But there are others who say that if Hezbollah had not been here, Israel would have been into Lebanon by now. And that is why there is support for Hezbollah. And then there are also who oppose Hezbollah, like some Christian groups who are political parties who are opposed to Hezbollah here in the political system. They oppose Hezbollah. They are close to the western parts in Israel and United States. Now, overall scenario is this, that there are people who have been caught in crossfire. We have visited countless sites of aerial strikes, which has only left debris, injured, and people who are dead. Now, people don't know where to go. There are instances where people are trying to get into Syria through the land border. Syria and Lebanon share the border. But Israel has also attacked that place, the road which connects Syria and the Lebanese territory. Attacks have happened in the no man's land, attacks have happened in the Syrian territory, close to the border, in the Lebanese territory, close to the border, and then people are not able, even with their cars, they can't reach to the end point or the last point, either in the Lebanese territory or the Syrian territory. Most of them are Syrians also, who had migrated into Lebanon when the civil war had broken there during the Arab Spring and after the emergence of ISIS. Now it is utter chaos because people don't know that what lies next in future for them, or whether this war will ever come to an end. My experience has been that that these people do not want war. This is 11:20. So these people don't want war. They had a battered economy after the Beirut port blast around 4 years ago, and there has been no investigation into that. Then this war has happened, their economy is collapsing, and if this war continues, then they say that we will be pushed to abyss. We will push to a situation where there is no return. Israel, on the other hand, is very determined and it wants to dismantle Hezbollah. Israeli Prime Minister has been appealing the Lebanese people to depopulate themselves or separate themselves from Hezbollah. Now, why that statement from Benjamin Netanyahu is problematic? Because he said the same thing when he addressed the people of Gaza, when he addressed the people of Iran, and every time he addresses people with this kind of message that disassociate yourself with the terror group or the groups which Israel feels is a hostile threat or terrorist, it ends up attacking the same people later. It attacks the civilian areas, claiming that these were the strongholds of that particular terror group or that particular group. Hezbollah is not considered terrorist here. I've spoken to people. There are people who oppose them, but it is not a militia as a militia group which is perceived here. Rather, they're part of the political system as well. So a lot of people, they don't believe that it's a terror group. Rather, they say that it's part of the system here. And we also spoke to the the Lebanese ambassador to India. Even he said the same thing, that had Hezbollah been not there, had it not been there, Israel would have easily got into Lebanon and would have occupied and stayed in Lebanese territory for years. With these words, my trip to Lebanon comes to an end. We traveled towards the southern suburbs where the intense fighting is happening. The ground combat is happening between Hezbollah and the Israeli soldiers, forces. Aerial strikes just miles, a couple of meters away from this spot. You have this Rafiq Hariri mosque. You see those, this is an iconic mosque. This is an iconic street. The Martyrs Square has turned into a makeshift refugee camp. People have come from different areas. Kids, women, elderly, they have all faced the brunt of this war. And what they fear is that perhaps if this war continues, will Lebanon become the new Gaza? From Beirut, Mohammed Ghazali for NDTV.